awakening from the grand dream, from night dream debugging, to the Prajna, path of daydreaming. In the long journey of cultivating Buddha's Dharma, the methods of practice are vast and boundless. Facing such an immense system, how do we find the ultimate breakthrough point where one is all, and all is one? In this Dharma talk by the Buddha's Path Association of Australia, the master points out a shortcut with the most modern sense of operational clarity starting from dreams. This is not only a subversion of cognition, but a fundamental revolution that utilizes Prajna wisdom to deconstruct real-world obstacles and upgrade the tools of life. Chapter I: The patience of realizing dreamlike nature and karmic purity, the ultimate way to break all bonds. Why dreams? When facing the vast and boundless ocean of Dharma, if you fight to the death on every single point, it will be endless. Dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows provide the fastest and easiest entry point. Especially dreams, because everyone has dreamed and is deeply familiar with them. Cutting in from the most familiar experience makes it the easiest to understand and grasp. Any point of attachment can be thoroughly broken through this entry point. The underlying logic of eradicating karmic obstacles. Through the patience of realizing dreamlike nature, the patience of realizing the dreamlike nature of reality, one can not only break through all attachments and bondages, but fundamentally eradicate karmic obstacles. The master cited the verse from Fasiko Sutta Kandrapraha Samadhi Sutra. Young man, what is called the purity of karma? It is seeing the three realms of existence as if they were a dream, and regarding them with aversion and detachment, giving rise to no greed or love. This is called the purity of karma. The master emphasized that from then on, whichever you do will be without obstruction. If karmic obstacles are not eradicated, you will face barriers at every turn. Once you can thoroughly comprehend this truth through dreams, you can even put aside the 37 factors of enlightenment and omit studying them. Chapter EI: Penetrating the conditions of all phenomena, the four types of conditionality in the Prajna system. When we wish to penetrate the nature of exhaustion of all reality, the ultimate exhaustive reality of self-nature, and the nature of suchness of all reality, all illusory manifestations as they truly appear of all phenomena, we must study Prajna Paramita. Borrowing text from Fasiko Sutta, the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra chapter on learning and contemplation, the master deconstructed the conditional nature of illusions contained within the nature of suchness using highly grounded, everyday examples. Causes and conditions Hichu Pratyaya, mastering the comprehensive law. What are the causes and conditions of all phenomena? For example, in the agricultural industry, do you know the seed, the soil, the water and fertilizer, the sunlight, and the temperature? Do you know what kind of fertilizer is needed and when? If you grasp this precisely, you will have a bumper harvest. This is called penetrating the conditions of agriculture. To care for a plant, you must know every single one of its conditions. Until you know them all, only then is it called all phenomena. Condition of immediate succession Samanantara Pratyaya, precise timing and rhythm. The condition of immediate succession refers to a condition that is gapless and perfectly appropriate right when it is needed. For instance, when cooking, you must master the heat when tightening a screw. You must master the force if the force is too great. It breaks if it is too small. It won't turn. The state of having to be exactly right, closely continuous and without interruption, is called the condition of immediate succession. Condition of the objective support Alambana Pratyaya, utilizing your tools wisely. What is the condition of the objective support? This is what the ancients meant by a craftsman who wishes to do his work must first sharpen his tools. What kind of tool does what kind of work? That is called the condition of the objective support. For example, if I want to dig the ground, this shovel is my objective support, what I rely on, but I must also sharpen the shovel. And that sharpening is the condition of the objective support. Dominant condition Adhipati Pratyaya, the iterative upgrading of tools. A dominant condition is upgrading your tools. For example, you exchange a bicycle for a sports car, and then exchange the sports car for an airplane. This kind of upgrade in tools, which brings about a qualitative leap in essence, is the driving force known as a dominant condition. Chapter II: Manifestation of mind only. Voidness of both nature and form, deconstructing the nine illusion matrix. The Mahaprajna Sutra mentions that if one wishes to penetrate all phenomena as like an illusion, like a dream, like an echo, like an image, like a shadow, like a mirage, like a flower in the sky, like a city of the grand harvest, like a magical transformation, where all is manifested by mind only and both nature and form are void. One should study Prajna Paramita. The master directed a direct, essential deconstruction towards several illusions that ordinary people most easily misunderstand. Like an illusion, the focus is on transformation. What exactly is an illusion? It is called transformation. Look at the mountains, rivers, and great earth before you. Look at men, women, the young, and the old. Look at tables, chairs, and benches. Which of these things is static? It is at this very moment, in a state of continuous transformation. Like a dream, the operating model of day and night is exactly the same. Because of this dream, which everyone experiences, it is easiest for you to understand from a dream what dreaming means. If you truly understand this thoroughly, you will know that everything before your eyes remains a dream. The difference lies in this: that daydream means the first 5 consciousnesses are actively gathering and deweaving information in real time, and night dream means the first 5 consciousnesses are shut down. Then the mental consciousness goes to retrieve old materials from the warehouse of the alaya consciousness. From the perspective of ultimate reality, the essence of these 2 dreams is exactly the same. Like an echo, the resonance of following karma. Like an echo refers to the echo in a mountain valley. Whatever you shout, it echoes back to you. Everything you encounter in life right now is an echo, a resonance you receive in the present because of karma you created in the past. Once the echo comes, you cannot reject it even if you want to. How do we stop this negative echo from returning? The master pointed out that the echo is inevitable because it exists according to its karmic volume. However, whether this echo can cause you suffering or pleasure is not fixed. If you are awakened, none of this can cause you suffering or pleasure. Cultivation is about eliminating its acting force upon you so that it can no longer form an obstacle, rather than saying the event completely ceases to exist. This is just like when you see others' merits. What you see is an echo coming back. When you speak of others' faults, it will also echo back to you. Like an image, like a shadow, seeing does not equal reality. An image is like looking in a mirror. You only have your image when you look into the mirror. If you don't look, where is the image? If you smile at the mirror smiles back at you. This is the same as an echo. A shadow is a person's shadow under light. You naturally have a shadow. You cannot say the shadow does not exist because you see it, nor can you say it inherently exists because it is insubstantial. An advanced practitioner can remain unaffected by shadows no matter how they change. The practitioner will not be swayed or give rise to suffering or pleasure. Like a mirage solar flame, the phenomenon of the force between karmic cause and fruit. A mirage is like driving when you see what looks like water on the road ahead. But when you drive over, there is no water. Or more commonly, when you burn a fire, that layer of moving, transparent air above the fire is called a mirage. Do you say it truly exists or illusorily exists? It precisely exists, but it exists under specific acting forces. This acting force is the karmic cause, and the phenomenon generated is the karmic fruit. Like a flower in the sky, illusions born of sensory fatigue or illness. Flowers in the sky refer to phantoms in empty space. For instance, if your eyes are diseased, or if you press on your eyes for a long time until they are strained and fatigued, you will see flowers appearing in the empty sky. Like a city of the grand harvest, the dynamically manifested illusory city. A city of the grand harvest is manifested by illusion. It is not a rigid optical refraction like a mirage that is far too low. A city of the grand harvest is a real city in appearance, but it manifests completely based on illusion and can transform instantaneously according to one's will. Every world has cities of the grand harvest, but ordinary people cannot see them. It is the dwelling place of non-Devis like users, who have the blessings of heavens but lack the virtual heavens. You cannot say it doesn't exist, nor can you say it exists just like your shadow. It vanishes in the blink of an eye. Chapter IV: The obstruction of the known and the disgrace of identification, the closed loop of suffering. What is voidness of both nature and form? What exactly is this voidness? The master used the screen to make an excellent metaphor. The essence of voidness is like a screen. All the words, phrases, and movies displayed on the screen manifest in reliance upon the screen. That voidness is the screen, and it displays everything based on the screen. Yet everything that is displayed remains inherently the screen. Inherently void. This is called being void at this very moment, not waiting until it changes, decays, and goes out to become void. Smashing the obstruction of the known everything is your definition. Why can we not cross the obstacle before our eyes? Because we are blocked by the things we know. This is called the obstruction of the known Nirvana. Taking a wooden table as an example. An ordinary person thinks it is solidly and truly a table. But in terms of ultimate reality, it is not a table, it can be a wave. Or it can be particles and electrons based on that wave. The reason it is called a table is because Westerners and Vietnamese people have their own names for it. It is simply whatever human beings define it as. That is what it is called. This piece of wood originally grew on a mountain. Then it was not a table. Humans crafted it into this shape and defined it as capable of placing things to produce a function. Everything you create in the worldly world is your definition. Your imagination. Imagination is the very root from which it begins to appear. If you activate supernatural powers, why can you turn a car into a chair? It is because you can manipulate its underlying basic structure and combine it at will. All obstacles stem from identification. Why do you believe everything truly exists? The very moment you identify with it, it becomes your obstacle, and you cannot get past it. We have been permeated by our environment since childhood to identify with these things. And eventually, they become all of our obstacles. For instance, if I confirm that this table is mine, and you break it now, my heart will ache. If this table is not mine, whether it breaks or not, my heart does not ache. If you identify it as yours, you will have the sensation of suffering and pleasure. If you do not identify it as yours, there is no sensation of suffering or pleasure. The same applies to the relationship between husbands and wives in the world. Before they know each other and marry, they do not acknowledge the other as their husband or wife. At that time, whoever fares well or poorly, the other feels no pain. But at the exact moment the marital relationship is confirmed, this web of suffering and pleasure begins. The longer and more firmly you identify with it, the greater the volume of your suffering and pleasure becomes. Therefore, everything hinges on whether you consider it to be truly existing or illusorily existing. Those who do not know how to cultivate will fall into an endless cycle of yours. Mine, good, bad, right, wrong, beneficial to me, harmful to me. But those who know how to cultivate see everything as an excellent thing. Whether it is good, bad, rising, or ceasing because they know how to identify. Identifying the false as true is the ultimate disgrace. The Upasaka Sila Sutra Fascicle Qi, chapter on Shanti Paramita mentions, patience under insult. Shanti is the true cause of Bodhi, and Anattara Samyak Sambodhi is the fruit of patience. The master further opened the teaching with patience. There is Bodhi. What is called patience under insult? You must firmly and clearly recognize what true disgrace insult is. Identifying the false as true, losing oneself to chase after material objects, and thereby being entangled in the karmic web. This is the ultimate disgrace in cultivation. Tragically, sentient beings do not recognize this disgrace. Instead, they treat the state of being entangled and filled with gain and loss in the karmic web as a glory. If you have always believed this physical body and deluded mind to be me, then you are wrong from the very roots. This is precisely your disgrace. Chapter V. Daily Homework and the Truth of the Non-Sleeping Self-Nature. Cultivation cannot be made to clutter. If you do too much, you will lose the main focus. The master left the most direct, inescapable practical homework assignment for all listeners. Every night you dream. When you finish dreaming and morning comes, do not get up right away. Stay there and think for a moment, what did I dream about? Look at how you believed it was real while in the dream. If it weren't real to you, you wouldn't have had joy, anger, sorrow, or joy. So why did you believe something that doesn't exist was real? Explain this to yourself first. The master also directly punctured a common worldly delusion, the belief that those few hours each night are spent sleeping. In reality, human beings never sleep. It is impossible for a person to truly sleep. If you have some realization of your own self-nature, you will know that there is no such thing as sleeping in the entire universe. Chapter VI. Overturning Inverted Dream Thoughts. The disciple had a doubt. Must the Dharma be able to understand reality and solve reality to be truly understood? The master directly shattered his doubt by leveraging the words of the sixth patriarch. The Buddha Dharma is in the world, it is not separated from worldly awakening. To leave the world to seek Bodhi is exactly like seeking horns on a rabbit. The famous line from the Heart Sutra states, "For journeying beyond inverted dream thoughts. Ultimate Nirvana." The journey of an ordinary person is the mind having hindrances. The mind hangs on to houses, onto cars, onto money, onto loved ones. When the mind has so many hooks catching onto all kinds of things, it naturally faces all kinds of obstructions. And the eight sufferings arrive in full force. To prevent oneself from suffering loss, one begins to have inverted dream thoughts. Because everything in a dream fundamentally does not exist. Yet when a person dreams, they truly believe it exists, experiencing no less joy, anger, sorrow, or pleasure within the dream. This is what is called inverted. The correct path to liberation, conversely, is not to tell you do not dream or think, but rather to think correctly. Understand the essence. You must know that everything in the dream, including this grand dream of daytime life, is merely this. It does not truly exist. Borrow the false to cultivate the true, although none of this truly exists. You must still utilize correct thinking and correct behavior to properly handle this event that does not exist. This is performing Buddha activity fastly within a dream, and directing water moon places of practice. In this grand dream of daytime life, we do not simply require nothing, rather, we seek everything. We need all tools. For instance, if I need to use a phone, I must use this phone well. But my purpose in using the phone well is not to crave it or be consumed by it. It is to use this excellent tool to perform Buddha activities, to do things that benefit the public, and to do good deeds. May all sentient beings remove the hooks from their minds, cease to identify illusory dreams as real, journey far beyond inverted dream thoughts, and attain ultimate nirvana.